Hello young learners, welcome back again. Most of the students whom I have met in my teaching career express a phobia for two most imposing subjects as per them, maths and physics. And it stands to logic also. I mean, if you do not have any interest towards maths, you won't like physics either. These two subjects go hand in hand. On one hand, where maths is the language of physics, physics is the language of universe. But of course, that's debatable. Well, we can keep this debate aside as for now. Today, we are going to discuss some of the important strategies to approach these two subjects. We will learn various approaches to eliminate this fear within you for maths and physics. But today's highlight is something else. Today we will have Professor from Madras Christian College, Dr. N. Lakshmi Narayanan. Dr. NLN has an experience of more than 4 decades in the field of physics, an epitome of knowledge. A person who can generate interest and quest for more knowledge and excellence in you. I was lucky enough to be taught by Dr. NLN in the year 2003 to 2005 during my masters, and my love for this subject actually made me so strong to get back to it even after 10 years of my career with the IAF. He's worked not just in India but in Korea, extending his knowledge to many more young learners like you. So today we will have Dr. NLN giving you those important tips and ideas to approach these two subjects and to get this fear out of you. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I wanted most to give you some appreciation of the wonderful world and the physicist's way of looking at it, which I believe is a major part of the true culture of modern times. There are probably professors of other subjects who would object, but I believe that they are completely wrong. That is Feynman. Feynman at his mischievous best. He was a Nobel laureate and considered to be one of the finest teachers of physics. I really can't talk about everything which you are going to see in physics. But let's start off with Newton's laws of motion. The first law defines inertia, the second law defines force and momentum, the third law defines action and reaction. Motion again has 3 ways of looking at it. One is kinematics, the other is dynamics, and the third is mechanics. I leave it to you to find and discover the meaning and content of these various disciplines. And of course there is statics. The difference between the motion, laws of motion or motion of a body, and statics, where the body is not moving, it's in equilibrium, is a question of unbalanced force and balanced force. When the forces are balanced, the body does not move, it's in equilibrium. That is statics. We will now go to unbalanced forces and consideration of an unbalanced force on an object. I take a diagram from your book. 2 people are pushing a crate. Initially they find it tough, they push some more with some more force, and after some time the crate starts moving. When you have overcome the force due to friction. What is friction? Friction or frictional force is the opposing force to relative motion between 2 bodies in contact. This again was investigated initially by Newton, and he enunciated the laws of friction. Friction is such an important force. It is a non-conservative force, yet without it we cannot live. Cars can't move on the road, motorbikes can't move on the road, you can't walk. Friction is always there when you rub to one object against another, in contact with another object. Suppose you push your plate on a glass top table, you will find there is some friction. When you push metal on glass, there will be some friction. When you push a glass tumbler on glass, there will be a different friction. The friction between glass on glass is more than the friction of metal on glass. This is empirically determined, and Feynman has a beautiful perspective for that. He says, when it is glass on glass, this object does not recognize the other object as something different, so it holds on much more. That is the perspective he gives you. We now go to the very famous, commonly known F is equal to ma, the Newton's equation, and that you will understand is the mathematical model for a dynamical system. It displays the structure of the dynamics of that system. Once we solve that equation, you have the solution for the problem, and you can always predict what will be the position of the object sometime later, what will be its velocity, so on and so forth. I will now go to another aspect of physics. All of us have been told in our primary classes that light travels in a straight line. Therefore, when you put an obstacle, you will get a shadow region, a geometrical shadow. You extend that line, below that will be darkness, above that will be light. But then after some time it was realized there was a pale light image even in the geometric shadow. The only way that could be explained was by diffraction, where interference fringes are formed in the geometric shadow. That could be explained only when you look at light as a wave. Fine, light is a wave. Does it stop there? No. Einstein, when he discovered and explained the photoelectric effect, he had to use light as a particle, a photon, which Planck had also predicted. Einstein got his Nobel Prize for the photoelectric emission explanation, and you will realize he looked at light as a photon, a particle. So light can be looked at as a particle, as a wave. You choose which way you look at it depending on the phenomenon you see there. That is physics. That is physics. It lets you imagine things, see things in different ways. Essentially, physics is about the nature of things. Fundamentally, physics can explain anything from the electron to the cosmos. Also, most of the popular technology in use, laser pointers, touch screens, the ULSI chips in your computers, laptops, microwave oven, induction stove, for medical appliances, X-ray scans, MRI scans, ultrasound scans, all these machines and technology evolved from concepts in physics. The language of physics is mathematics. Please understand that very clearly. In the early stages of physics, science, physicists were mathematicians, mathematicians were physicists. There was no demarcation between, they could do both. Now the subject has become large, and more commonly, physicists can do to some extent good mathematics, whereas mathematicians may find it difficult to understand the physics. So essentially, I would like you to enjoy the magic of physics, understand the physics, do your mathematics, and how do you become thorough in the subject? You start working out problems. Do it as a matter of exercise, once in 3 days, even once a week. Sit down for 1 hour, solve problems. Initially you might find it difficult getting your answers, but once you start practicing, you will understand when you apply your concepts which you have learned and do your mathematics correctly, you get the solutions. That is the beginning of the adventure in physics, and there is nothing greater than physics. You have such a wonderful teacher in Swapna Balyan, our student, or should I say squadron leader Swapna Balyan. There is one thing I can never do. She can become a better teacher than me, but I can never be a pilot. Never. Best wishes to all of you. Do well, study well. A study in physics will always benefit you in wherever you go, whatever you become. See you.